Ever wondered how to walk over chord changes? Well, in today's video, I'm going to show you the basics of how to walk and what walking bass lines are made out of. So let's get into it. The first thing which you need before you even start or attempt to do a walking bass line is be able to understand chord charts. I've got a video for that if you want it in more detail, but I'll go into it a little bit quicker today just so we can get into all of the other stuff. But essentially, every chord, let's say C7, C major 7, C minor 7, C half diminished 7, etc., are made up of different notes. Usually 4 notes, unless you get into a 13 chord, because then it's got the 1, the 3, the 5, the 7, the 9, the 11, and the 13. But typically 4 notes a chord, and you can devise these out of the major scale. If we say that we're working in C here, we can get quite a lot of chords out of the traditional major scale. Not necessarily all of them, but still it's how we're going to build our chords up. So we've got a major 7 chord, which is a tonic 1, 3, 5 and 7. I've got a PDF for all of these shapes in the description, so please go and have a look at it. Then we've got the minor 7, which is 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. Dominant 7 is 1, major 3, 5, flat 7. And half diminished is 1, flat 3, flat 5, flat 7. And diminished is 1, flat 3, flat 5, doubly flat 7, or a 6 if you want to call it that as well. And then obviously you can have a major 6 chord as well, 1, 3, 5, 6. Although sometimes you don't put the 5 in. And you can have a 4 as well in a major 7, 1, 2, 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, although typically not, because it's a tritone away from the major 7. You can hear that clash, so you'd usually have a sharp 11, and if it's up the octave it'd be a major 7, a sharp 11, which is usually what it's called there. But that's besides the point. There are loads of different chords and loads of different chord flavors, but the ones you typically come across are major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, half diminished 7, also called minor 7 flat 5, and diminished 7. If you know these 4 shapes are the major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, half diminished 7, and diminished 7, you're basically all the way there, and you've pretty much covered all the chords which you could possibly get on a chord chart. You don't need to worry about the other number too much as well. If it says diminished 7, there's only 1 note different, and that's a 7, but the 7 will still work. And if it says diminished 9, which you barely ever come across, it's got a 9 in it as well. Major 9's got a 9 in it. C9 has got a 9 in it as well. But you can just use those 4 notes and it will work. And essentially we're using those chord tones and applying a rhythm, a groove to them essentially, and that is how we're going to do the walking. So let's say I wanted to walk over an F chord. I could do something like this if I was going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can see how that's just a walking bass line. It's just crotchets like this, and you know, you can see we're just walking over this F chord. I just put the flat 9 in there. You don't need to worry about what that is, but just have a play around. Look up a 1 chord drone online and just play around with these chords and find what sounds nice to you over that chord, and try using these chord tones. And you should find that if you're able to do all of this and think about all of this and be able to hold a conversation like I'm doing with you now, you're pretty comfortable with walking over these chord changes. I'm not playing necessarily all the notes in the chord as well, because there's the flat 9 again there, which is 1 semitone above. That's a G flat rather than an F. And you can see I can just keep going, and I can just keep talking like this and going through it. And essentially it's just crotchet rhythms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. really. So that is all your rhythm, and it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You get the point. But you can add little accents, little embellishments. You can do and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, and etc. If I was walking and, you know, holding it like this, I might just go around a little bit. You can see I use the same rhythmic device there. Perhaps it's a little bit more difficult to hold a conversation. I can't really do it properly. If I'm doing perhaps a little bit more rhythm, that's perhaps not, you do it in a walking scenario there, all of those quavers, but if you did want to do some of that for effect, that could be quite nice. But essentially you just want to play around with the rhythm of all of this, because a crotchet, you know, walking bass line is the foundation. You might want to go up and start walking perhaps a little bit more like a double bass player would, as especially in jazz, we're sort of mimicking them as electric bass players. And if you can really think about, oh, what rhythm sounds good to you, if you've got a metronome out as well, or if you've got good time, and sometimes it's nice to do it just by yourself, sort of rubato maybe, perhaps, if that's the right word for it, and just go through. I've deliberately sped up here because it's also good to practice at faster tempos as well and try and keep it all up essentially, because you're going to be doing a lot of this as a bass player. So if you do have the skills to just keep communicating and hopefully making through and keeping all of this in time, we're still just working over an F7 chord really. It's not really an F major 7 because I basically haven't done any E naturals at all until just there, but it's just F7 is all we're going at over at the moment. And you know, I could walk over this for absolutely ages, and it's just finding a foundation of a rhythm that you like and maybe repeating some rhythmic devices and using those chord tones and working what chord goes to the next essentially. So let's say if we're going to walk on F7 and we want to go to C7, you can see I've made that switch over there, and then we're going to go back to F7, and now we're on F7 again, and then C7. And sometimes you can play this little game that I like to do sometimes, so let's just keep on F7 for the time being, and I'm just going to keep on F7. This is the tempo that I've set. I'll set a tempo, it could be as fast or as slow as I want, and then I just think to myself a chord. Let's say I'm going to go to A flat 7 here, and then I'm walking A flat 7, and I'll always go back home. And now we're on F again here, and let's say I want to go to E flat 7, so let's just walk an E flat 7 and back to F again. And you've got to think to yourself consciously, do that. Let's say a D flat 7 or a C sharp 7, and then back home again straight to the F as well. Let's try something a little bit different and do an E, and you can choose where to jump up to when you do that. I've gone D now, and I've gone to C7 there, and F again. And another thing which is good for this game is trying to make up a chord progression. If we take F is our home here, and let's say we're going to go to B flat 7, and we've gone to B flat 7, and then F again, and then we can do that, and then keep going, and then A flat 7 as we've just done, and then home again, and then E flat 7, and continue on E flat 7, and then go home again and keep going. Or you could do something which I quite like doing as well, which is doing one extra chord each time. So let's say we're going to stay on F here, and we're going to keep going on F, and let's go C7. It is quite a nice one to go to the 5, and we'll go back to F7, and let's pick another chord to go to after the C7. Let's say B flat 7. Sorry, one of my lights has turned off there, but we're just going to have to keep going through this. So let's go F7 as we are at the moment, then up to C7 and up to B flat 7, and then back to F7 again and keep going with that, and then F7 again. We're going to go to C7, and then we're going to go to B flat 7, and then we're going to go to A flat 7, and you get the idea. We can keep walking like this for ages and doing all this practice stuff. Since my light has turned off, I'll end this video here. I've given you some brief tips on how to walk use those chord tones, come up with some interesting rhythms, play some games with yourself. It is all supposed to be fun after all. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye.